analysis disaster risk management in Colombia. My professional experience, I've been working all the time in the technological sector. It means that I work with databases, coding, developing applications, but I have never worked in disaster management. So what I'm going to share here is the point of view of a Colombian citizen. So let me start with quoting the World Bank. So it says, disasters happen all over the world, but their economic, social and environmental repercussions have continually increased and have had greater overall impacts in developing countries. Disaster can overshadow years of investment for countries' development, but at the same time, the risk causes may be rooted in errors, problems arising from the same development process. So, after this, I want to point that the political and administration regulations have a great weight in the risk management topic. So, Colombia, you may know, shares borders with Venezuela, Brazil, Peru, Ecuador, and Panama. And it has the Caribbean Sea and the Pacific Ocean. So last month, nowadays we have a lot of tragedies or disaster in Colombia. So only to mention three, we have a very big landslide in the mountains of Colombia, here in Manizales. We have avalanche in the south of the country, and we have a big one, recently, just 1 month ago, when 328 people died because of an avalanche. So let me show you a small video about 30 seconds. How is the town after the disaster? So we are arriving to the urban area. So this river swept all over his path. So all the houses were flooded and destroyed. And as you can see here, there is nothing where a lot of houses. So this happened suddenly and in the middle of the night, so many people died, as you can see here. And we were not prepared for this. So,
was this small video from Google? You created from Google?
yeah, yes.
This animation?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I want to mention 4 factors that arise the risk growth trends in Colombia. These 4 factors are occur during several periods of time from the past. So One of the main reasons that Colombia haven't had a real policy about risk management is because the difference between, or the conceptual, the concepts about development and risk management have not been raised as a political issue. They only have been raised until a small organization that manages these kind of things. So this is a big issue. We have to work. Another thing is that our watersheds and our land use are not well managed. It means that we can have very bad uses of the land where we need to have, where we should have trees and vegetation, cover vegetation. So, and because of that, many of the flooded disasters happen because our forest is destroyed, it has been destroyed. And the gaps between the public and the governmental sectors is too big. So, and for that, nothing is taking direct responsibility about this disaster or the implementation of the policies. So here in this graphic we can see the amount of money that is injected when a disaster happened in Colombia. So if you can see here, we see a peak, and it's because a disaster happened. Just because of that, the government invested more money in people. For example, here we have the Armero tragedy, where the Greece volcano made eruption, and about 20,000 people died out of 29,000. So, okay, the government inject money, but I think from my point of view, it's a little bit late. Okay, in this period, we don't have almost anything, and the departments start to raise money to try to look in the future to invest in this kind of things. And here again, we start with a lot of tragedies in Colombia, a lot of earthquakes and flooded processes. And this is a reflect of that we need to look forward in the future and not inject money or invest money only when things happen. In this graphic, I want to show the three main disasters that we have. Flooding, landslides, and earthquakes. In this part, you can see the amount of area that is affected for one of these processes. And in this part, you can see the percentage of population that is affected. So, as you can see, talking about people, we have more people affected by the flooding processes, and many for the earthquake, because the earthquake is only once and maybe a lot of time passes between them. But for flooding, it's almost every month we have news about this. These are the everyday talk. Okay, here we can see the amount of the process that occur by the main cities. So we have Bogota. We have something, but it's not too bad. This all in Bogota happened because the bad donation of our urban area, but it's not that big as here, because here is a mountainous area, chain of mountains, and without any kind of planning when they are building the towns. So when you travel to this city, you will see a lot of houses on mountains, and when it rains, these houses go down. So here we have a period and a range of about 1,500 number of disasters in this city, in this period of time, which is a lot. And here, I want to present you the amount of deaths, the disaster and events, victims that occur by period of year. So if we pay attention to this graph, we'll see here in 1999, the Armero volcano eruption, and here we have an earthquake as well, a very hard earthquake that destroyed a city. So in these two periods, we will find the biggest amount of numbers, talking about the tragedies and lives and victims and houses affected. So in the beginning we saw the four main things that are increasing the risk management process in Colombia. Here there are 6 strategies to deal with it. So the first thing is to rise to a policy, all these processes that are doing these small organizations, such as the National Plan for Disaster Prevention and Response. It's a very excellent plan, but when it goes for a very big disaster, this is not enough. So if this plan is raised to a policy, it will be better because it will have more time and more money to plan the things, looking in the future. Okay, we need to increase the amount of money that is going for these processes of planning, monitoring areas. We need to increase the budget here, and we need to strengthen the local capacity to respond to these effects. Because we can reduce the amount of disasters if we make aware the people about the risk that they are going to have in a particular place. We need to invest money in the administration of the watersheds and our land cover, because if we restrict some areas that are very important for water and for the landslides, we can prevent a lot of the disasters that happen. We can elevate the policies that are done at the municipal level to the national level, in order to have more help from the capital city to the other cities, because we can find a lot of very prepared people, but only in main cities. But what about the others, the small ones? So if we raise these policies, all these professional professional people can go to the other small towns and can help a lot. And here I want to tell you that delimiting the public and private responsibilities, it would be great, because the government sometimes discharges over the public sector, and we said, okay, but some of the things about the politics and the implementation of law are a responsibility, a direct responsibility of the government. So the government relies a lot in public sector, but the public sector is not the direct responsible. So I would like to conclude with this quote and with my conclusions. So water code is people from Holland who says this: next emergency will just be in the next rainy season. And it's what happened last month. It was rainy season and many people died because we have everything, but we were not prepared to deal with this kind of disaster. Okay, some conclusions about what I found about risk management in Colombia. Risk management in Colombia is increasing due to an inadequate territorial, sectoral, and private management, rather than due external factors such as climate change. The amount of money invested in risk management is not enough to look for solutions in long term. And finally, there is the circulation between governmental office makes these decision processes weak and unreliable. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rafael, for sharing the information about your home country, as well as strategies you suggested and the necessities you mentioned regarding having influence on political decisions. Very interesting. Well, any questions at the moment? Yes.
Maybe one comment. I did not hear much about vulnerability mapping, because in fact in the risk management we have a hazard which mostly we cannot do very much. It comes, but the preparation in fact goes very much into vulnerability mapping.
Yeah.
And, I did not hear much. Did I miss it, or was not really on the strategies?
Okay. This kind of math exists, and a lot of professionals, such as GIS professionals and remote sensing professionals, work in this kind of maps, and we have it. But the one thing is to have the map and put it on the wall. But when you have something, when you have to deal with people, when you have to educate them in order they move to this a particular area that is in risk, it's a different thing. And there is a lack of awareness in the people, and they don't listen. They don't like listen. So people need to find strategies to deal with this thing, because it's responsibility, one part for the government, they educate people, and the other part is doing make the decision. People make the decision to go to another place because they already know that they are in risk. These maps exist, but sometimes they are not used in a correct way.
Presentation. So we have this slide for media maps in part two.
Yeah.
So and this results also. What we know when we set settlement plans and also building approvals kind of things. When there might be some regulatory bodies, they use these maps and give some engineering advice or any other things in your country. When they do buildings and designing settlements or settlements kind of things. I'm asking, you may have some regulatory bodies,
Yes.
especially for clearance given to the buildings and other maybe dams,
Yeah.
any kind of interior,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So what is the procedure they follow? Because there are landsliding so many areas, landsliding so many areas, so they have to give this clearance as well as they have to give some advice and for designing.
I get it. Okay. When the private sector is building something, they respect everything because the law is very clear for them. But when some people start to create urbanizations, that is not very clear. And they go where the land is free. And maybe there are some regulations for those land, but these people, these kind of people that make these urbanizations, they do it and they make the problem and then they go to another place. And people believing that this place is officially given by the government or checked by the government, they believe in these people and then the disaster happened. And
Because some of activities enhance this risk, or especially the constructing dams and mitigation schemes like this.
no, yeah, that's what I tell you. The private sector respects everything because if they don't, they will be, how to say, government will charge with money, but people don't. Of course, there are so many particular cases.
Okay. Final question by Johanna.
I want to add something. We have landslides maps, as you say, and a new project, housing projects want to be constructed. They have to check these landslide maps, and there is a recommendation that the hazard, whether it is a medium or a high hazard, then you have to make detailed studies to build a new project. I mean, studies regarding to geotechniques, because this is not enough with the hazard map. In the hazard map, you only see a trend, you only see something very general, and yes, and then that's what I talked about.
Detailed investigations.
Yes, especially when the hazard is high or medium. When the hazard is low, then there is not necessary to make detailed studies.
Yeah, the area is not the landform area, so anybody can build in.
Yeah.
So this kind of map is accessible for all the people. If it is
Resolution protection.
Just another comment, but please talk a little bit louder.
this type of maps, like what you mentioned now, landslide hazard map, is it available for all the like urban or rural people? It is only for urban.
It's available for all people. We have a geoportal where we share the information. We are working in processes of open data. So this information, you can find it.
Do you agree? Yes.
I think for rural areas it's not so easy that these people have access to this information. So it's really not easy, and many of these people, they don't know that these maps exist. They don't know it at all. So we have to create a little bit like they have to be aware of this.
I think even in Germany, ecological portal sites are not very well known to the public, in my opinion. Okay, thank you for the comments and contributions, and thanks again, Rafael.